Do you remember almost a year ago, on Epiphany Sunday, a year ago, we were gathered here in our sanctuary, really oblivious to what was coming. Who knew a year ago that the world would be so different today? Who could have imagined on Epiphany Sunday a year ago that we would be in a global pandemic, facing the kinds of divisions, craziness in our country that we face today, that we would not be here in our beloved sanctuary worshiping together, but worshiping online. Thank goodness for the online format. But of course, it doesn't work for everyone, and we miss that we can't all be gathered. Today I've been here at the church, and I stepped into the sanctuary just because, for me, as crazy, as painful and difficult as this year has been for all of us, all the loss, all the brokenness, all the hurting and division, all the healing that needs to happen, all the forgiveness that must come. There's something about this sanctuary, about being in this space, something about the silence of it that inspires me and gives me hope and comfort, and helps me to recenter myself in the belief and trust that not only is God with us, because I do believe and trust that, I know God is with us, but that we will be with each other again soon, sooner than later, and that we will be stronger for what we have come through, and we will have a greater wisdom and understanding than we could have ever had before. As long as we keep grounding ourselves in our faith and in the knowledge that God's way is not the way of the world always, and that as crazy as it may seem, no matter how many people support the way of the world and would fall prey to ways of power, of division, of hate and divide, God's way, which is the most powerful way, never leads us down that path. It's always the path of peace. Last year, we had that big basket filled on Epiphany Sunday with these star words. Remember? We passed it around and we could reach into the basket and take out our star word for the year. What was yours? Do you remember what your star word was? These are the leftover star words. Mine was compassion, and I've had that star sitting on my desk for a year. And I remember when I picked it, I was so excited because, of course, I love the word compassion, and to be able to focus and contemplate, meditate on compassion has been, especially at that moment, I was like, wow, this is great. What a great time to be focused on compassion. It's always good to focus on compassion. Little did I know what that might entail, where my meditation and focus on compassion might take me. Down a road and path of remembering that others deserve compassion, that we deserve compassion, that sometimes having compassion for ourselves sometimes is the place to begin, that we find our own brokenness and see what it is that's at work, that's driving us into ways that maybe push us against the ways of God, against our covenant, that lead us into paths of anger, resentment, hatred, division, that we could fall prey to that so easily, and we turn inward and seek that place within us where it's stemming, what's being triggered, what's happening inside of us that's making us react out into the world. And then we can have, once we recognize it and see it and have understanding, we can have compassion for that within us. And once we have compassion for that, then the healing within begins and the forgiveness begins, and then we can turn back out and face what it is that's bothering us so much outside of ourselves that we're reacting to. And we can react from a more centered place of compassion. Well, that was my word. What was yours? I look at the leftover words and I think, wow, isn't that amazing? Stability. Want some stability in our world these days. Joy, leadership, understanding. We could use some of that. Discernment. We could use some of that. Thoughtful. Learning, helping, praise, forgiveness, servanthood, patience. What's your star word? What will be your star word this year? We don't have the basket, we can't gather right now for the basket. I sent out a link last week, so I was hoping, hopefully you were able to use that link to identify a word. But if not, what might your word be? Of all these words left over, what might you meditate on this year? We have no idea, do we, what will a year from now will look like? We've learned that this year. But I think what we can trust is that God will be with us no matter what. And that we will be with each other. We will be with each other. We will continue to be with each other no matter what. And we hope and pray that someday soon we will be with each other physically again. That we will all be gathered in the same spot. And we will take what we have learned and we will grow and be better. I hope you are finding a peace and blessing this day. I hope that you are finding some joy, some fun, the peace that passes all understanding be yours.